Bonjour, happy Saturday. If you're in Toronto, it means we're in -2 degrees, so it's a little bit chilly today. Let me see. Uh, Hello.
Hello. Oh, where's my headphones not connected now? Go ahead. Just 1 second.
For those just joining, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is our Mastermind, where we activate all of your dreams and goals, things that you've been working on or things that you're too shy to talk about. We're holding space for you to be able to discuss anything, any challenges, any ideas that you have. So if this is your first time joining us, welcome to our virtual mastermind. And we have Gbemi who's in transit. I don't know if you can hear me because I can't hear you yet. No, can't hear you.
I can hear you. My background, I have a child crying, so just give me a second to go on mute for a second.
You don't really have to go on mute. Like, we're used to babies crying. That's fine. It's part of life.
Okay, that's part of life then. Let's leave it at that. It is what it is. I'm trying to get it back on my headphones, and I don't know why I can't. Just give me a second so I can hear you loud and clear.
Shout out Everything Cakes by Tani. If you live in the Toronto area and you're looking for cakes, then you want to reach out to Everything Cakes by Tani to order your amazing cakes. Anyway, so while we wait for Gbemi to sort out her sound, how's everybody doing? How's your week been? I usually have stories from how my week has been, but this week I feel like I have zero stories. I feel like I'm already in the festive season. I did see a post on LinkedIn this week, and the lady had said something about, we have to be inclusive this period. This season is where most of us would just say Merry Christmas, and that is not inclusive language, that we cannot just assume that everybody celebrates Christmas. And it really got me thinking, because sometimes you think you're grown. Like I think of, when I know I don't know it all, but there's just certain things I think I should know or that I know. And then every once in a while I get hit by this whole, you just assume that when you say Merry Christmas, everybody's like, yeah, sure, Merry Christmas. Because I grew up in a culture where we all just said Merry Christmas, but now we have to be more inclusive. The world is changing. The world has changed. And so as we step into the last couple of weeks of the year, when you want to greet people, please say Happy Holidays, or if you know for certain the person celebrates Christmas, then you can say Merry Christmas. But yeah, for me, it's Happy Holidays. That's what I learned this week, to not say Merry Christmas, to say Happy Holidays. But with my Christian folks, I will be saying Merry Christmas.
This is a very political world. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Whatever floats your boat. When I say happy holidays to you, interpret it as you wish. And just thinking about just thinking about the week, to be fair. I think this week was much better for me. It was more intense. But at least the people I was expecting showed up, so which was good. And none of them were Gen Z, which is, again, evidence of the fact that, the older generation seem to have more respect for commitment. So, hey, I stand corrected. So, anyway, yes, as Joan said to you all, I am in transit, but I am keeping my commitment of showing up in this particular space, as we agreed that we will hold this space for you to be able to come in and share what is on your mind, the thoughts you have, plans, and then we can mastermind and brainstorm together about the best way to move forward. But yes, so if you're okay with my background noise and a few bit of sound, I think I'm okay to go ahead. So yeah, let's do this. I can see people that I know, so I want to say hello to everyone. Hi guys. Some people I'm in your hood right now. You have no idea. Some people I'm going to be in your hood in a few hours. We will be seeing each other.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe like if there's anybody who wants to hop on the stage with us and kind of brainstorm, feel free to just request to join the conversation, because it's about you. It's not about us. I know we do talk a lot about us, because this is almost like therapy for us too. This is our own healing session. So like, you're holding space for me, I'm holding space for you, Gwynny's holding space for me. We're just kind of just holding space for each other, because I think that's something that a lot of people lack or miss in the real world, where you don't feel like you have like-minded people who can listen to you or who understand what it is that you're trying to do. We don't claim to know it all, but at least we're here. We'll listen. There might be people who are watching, who are part of this conversation, who might have the answers that you're looking for. So if you do have questions, put it in the chat. If you're bold enough and you want to come on stage, please come on stage and let's get started, because I like to talk about different topics and different experiences. Hey, Jato. So Jato is like one of my celebrity friends. Like he's a film producer and so many things, and he's doing a lot of things in SA. Jato, if you want to come and share with us a little bit about your experience, one of the amazing things that you've done, that will be great, because you left Nigeria and went and started a new life in South Africa, a different environment, might I say, a little bit hostile to we Nigerians, but you've been able to really succeed over there. So we would love to have you on stage if you want to talk about some of your experiences and how that might help some people who have dreams of especially getting into the entertainment industry, because I think that a lot of people still think that, oh, you need to know somebody, you need connections, you need a grandfather, a godfather, you need to go to school, study for 50 different years and do whatever. But yeah, you've been able to succeed. I'm going to invite you to the stage, whether you like it or not. You've been able to succeed, so it'll be nice to hear. I'll give you 5 minutes to hear some of your stories. I do have somebody else here. I'm going to try to force her to come on stage if she will accept. But she had an idea, and we talked about it briefly. I think it was early this year when we were in LA, and a lot of us we have this, where we keep waiting for this big epiphany to come, this voice of God to come and say, this is what you should do. Whereas you have people always telling you, oh my God, for this particular lady, I'm waiting for her to see if she comes on. I don't want to mention her name yet. But she has amazing skin, and she just naturally is into skincare, just knows how to make her skin glow and all of that. And people keep asking her, what do you do with your skin? How are you going to make your skin glow? What are you selling some products that I can use? And so it was very, very clear, like within a few minutes of talking to her, I was like, well, that's your next business. Like, well, what are you waiting for? This is something that has come to you naturally, where people are already asking for this. So sometimes you keep waiting, or you keep praying, you're waiting for this voice to come from God knows where. Sometimes it's just like what people naturally come to you with, the conversations that people always ask you for help with. That's typically a sign of maybe this is where you should be focusing. Maybe this is how you can create an impact in the world and help other people.
But yeah, there's something else though. I always like to say that there are passions, there are hobbies, right? Because one of the biggest issues that people have is your camera is facing the road though, just so you know.
I know.
So we know what's funny is that there are things that we call passions and we call hobbies, that when you put the pressure or being paid to do it, it might take out the joy that you actually benefit from doing it. So sometimes it's okay to test the market, to test and see if it's something that if you're getting paid to do it, you don't feel so pressured. You just suddenly remove the joy that you were having before of doing a particular thing. Because I've seen that experience before with some of my friends and even a client when we've spoken about something that they really enjoy doing, and then people began to pay them for it, and they're like, oh my God, I no longer enjoy it as much. So sometimes it's okay, but try it out first and see. It's possible that you no longer enjoy that, but maybe actually when you were enjoying it, it's just for you, and you can tell people how to go about doing it free of charge, and then it makes it easy. So you can still contribute, but without the pressure of that getting paid. Okay. So not every passion and hobby can become, a commercial activity or money-making scheme, but you have to at least try it first and see if it works for you.
Okay, so I'm going to challenge you a little bit on that. This time. Because
go on.
I had a friend, you know her as well. Like, she's really passionate about I'll call it designing parties, right? So she likes to she's the creative mind. She'll be like, this is the theme of the party, and this is what people are going to wear, and this is what the decor is going to look like, and this is what the food is going to look like. Like, she just has this imaginative, conceptualization of events in her mind. And I've always known that. And then, just like to what you're saying, she thought, okay, maybe this means I'm meant to become an event planner and start actually planning the parties for people. Biggest she hated it so much. She was good at it, but it sucked all the joy and all the life out of her. And she found that she didn't really enjoy it, dealing with vendors, dealing with bridezillas, and just people who you can't please. They don't understand, they don't get what it is you're trying to create. So it's just constantly questioning, but why is this? No, I don't want that. It has to be pink, it has to be blue. So she just abandoned the whole business. And she abandoned it. She's abandoned it for maybe like 10 years now. But then we started to have a conversation this year. And I said to her, but you know that that's truly what you're supposed to do. That's one of the things you're supposed to do. It might not be the only thing. I said, but I tried it. I said, no, you went about it the wrong way. Because you're passionate about something doesn't mean, we all think, oh, because I'm an architect, I like drawing buildings, I need to go build the buildings. You don't have to. You can actually create the part that you truly enjoy. And all she enjoys is designing events. People come to her all the time and say, oh, can you help me plan my kids' party? I need a theme. And she just does it effortlessly. And I'm like, how about you just stick to that? Don't get into the point of where now you're the event planner looking for vendors or buying the table and chair covers and any of this. Just design the events and let people go away on their merry way and go look for the vendors that are going to execute. And she loved it. She was like, wow, amazing. I'm going to build my website. I'm going to start putting all my concepts, because she's done so many now for free. But now she needs to now create a portfolio of, this is what I sell. My service is I help you design your events. I am not going to decide who's going to make your jollof rice or be chasing after any vendor. That's not my job. My job is just to conceptualize and design your events. So I think that's one of the mistakes that people make. If you love beauty products, for instance, and you're very particular about people looking a certain way, doesn't mean you need to go and become a makeup artist or you need to go own a spa where you're scrubbing people's faces. No, you might just be a consultant. You might be able to look at people's skin and say, maybe I'm looking at your skin, it looks a bit dry, discoloration, use this toner, use rose water, use the end of story, c'est la vie, bye. All is well with the world.
100%. Hey, T, Oluwa T, we need to see. People that are in Calgary, I've been promising them a visit.
Okay, let me see if Jato is ready to join us, because he said 5 minutes. But keep going.
I'm promising them a visit. Well, hey, hi, Emmanuel. I'm saying a couple of people that I actually speak to or know. Jato is here.
Hey,
hello.
Jato.
Hi, good evening. Sorry, I'm just finished watching Morocco, Portugal.
Okay. Your volume is very low. I don't know if it's me.
Come again?
Okay, your volume is quite low.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I think my phone...
Okay, this is fine.
It's better now. It was very low before. Okay. Hello.
Sorry. Hi. Okay. Great. My name is Jato. You know, they call me Jato back home, but in South Africa, they call me Jato. Okay. Basically, I've known June for a while. Like, yeah, more than 15 years.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Okay, and she used to be that girl we all wanted to see, that bubbling lady. There's always one party somewhere, you know.
No, so,
please feel free to share inside gist, because
there's no
unless she's messaging you on the site to say don't, or feel free to.
Okay, great. So she knew me then as a filmmaker, which I'm still a filmmaker. So somehow she saw my progress and everything. The industry then was not like this. Then there was no Instagram, no social media, and no Netflix, no those. We didn't have those people around to support us. So what we did were like more of independent filmmakers, and we strived so much to get to the top. But it wasn't easy because we had the mafias there as well. You know, they're just there and everything. So after I did the project, I think I started going to the UK, coming back, for almost 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. But I discovered in the UK, I didn't have a space. And that's the truth. You know, to get into the film world there, you have to go through their school, through their training. And you got to look a certain look, like you have to look old. That's the truth. You have to look old. If you're young, they still keep you like one of those boys handling the equipment, which we call gear. Yeah. So anyway, I unfortunately misplaced my passport on my way from Manchester, so I went back to Nigeria. I know, June, did I ever tell you this? No. Okay, so I misplaced my passport, and at that point, I think I had 5 years visa, and I didn't have a photocopy of it. You know, at times ignorance is just something we overlook. So I didn't have a photocopy of my visa, because I go and I come back. I didn't even know how important a passport was back. I just straight to my bag and I travel. So I came back and I couldn't get my passport there. So they said because I'm a citizen. So I came back, went to the embassy. I couldn't even go to the embassy. I went to apply as usual. Unfortunately, I applied twice and they didn't give it to me. I felt a bit bad. Then I called my cousin. My cousin in South Africa spoke to me and said, why didn't I come to South Africa? Initially, I said no. You know, we look at it like Africa, me, big boy, lying. So my immediate elder brother was my manager then. So he went online, started looking for producers, everything. So there was this white dude that does, I'm not sure he just liked the way my brother persuaded him. And he told me if I can come, let's talk. So I came down, I came to a place more like Peckham, let me put it that way, like a Peckham in London, you know, Nigerian.
The ghetto. The Bronx.
It's a nice suburb, but why I call
It's
it
being
Peckham?
gentrified right now. Don't say Bronx, please.
Okay.
It's being gentrified right now.
Okay. The difference is just that it's a suburb, like high cost area, but 90% of the people here are foreigners from Africa. 50% Nigerians. If you walk on the street, you hear Yoruba, Igbo, everything. Then you have the Congolese and the rest. So, but
It is Peckham. It is Peckham.
yeah. So the bad part is they'll have a reputation, and you know what I mean. So when I came, my cousin was one of them, and he told me, "Hey, bro, carry lapi na the only way out." I said, "It's not possible because people that look up to me or people that know me, I think I'm going to disappoint them. That's the truth."
Yeah.
Because before then, I was already 10 years in the industry. But I was not really big, but I came out from Tadio Gidon, which took me to the next level. I had the backup of Tadio Gidon, you know, but I was not that guy there, but I was just that Tadio Gidon's boy, you know, just the way you have a RMD and Bovie then, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I said I should not worry that I'll sort myself out. So I went online, searched for a job, then I saw this production house. That was like 4 or 5 weeks later. And I told them I'd like to work. They said, okay, I should call, let them see what I've done. So I took my movie there, which is called King of Shita. I took it there, and they saw it, and they're like, not really. I understood, but I was eager to work and learn because they also offer like a master program at the same time. So trust me, I worked for 6 months without pay. They're Indians, so they prefer not to pay you. So I worked for 6 months without pay, and at that point, I just looked at my life and said, okay, no, let me start afresh. So how do you start afresh? I started going to church, reading, and you know, got baptized. After everything, my pastor called me and said, what do you like to do? So I like to join the media department. Unfortunately, they didn't have the, you know, now that you have all these media things, TV, they didn't have it. They didn't have it at all. So I told them I could do that for them. And they said, if I can, then that would be a nice thing, which I did. So I was part of the workers for 2 years, you know. And at the same time, just think of you going to work in the morning that you're not paid, taking the bus and everything. Then you come back like 4, you have to go to church for workers meeting. And I didn't have a car, trust me, I didn't have a car. So anyway, I managed, I survived it. Then the guys got me angry at the office. As a typical Niger guy, one day you go lose them for them. So I did. And I told them, you know what? It's done. I moved on. Went to church, I focused. Then from nowhere, 1 or 2 things started happening. No people want to do wedding, want to do this, they call J. I got there. So I was putting myself together. Then I decided to go back to Nigeria. That was 8 years ago. I've been 10 years right now. So that was like 8 years ago. After 2 years, I just felt, no, let me just go back to Nigeria. At least if I get there, I know people now. I'll call, you know. So on my way back to Nigeria, I went to Johannesburg because I'm based in Cape Town, and I called a friend that usually comes for like an event that they do every year, a movie media event. So I said, hey, dude, all I need is balance of tickets. Yeah. Anyhow, find me. He started laughing at me. I was so angry. I said, why are you laughing? I'm telling you facts. Because we've done deals in the past. Yeah, I saw some of my series, my soapies rather. You remember my soapy, the Eve that I shot? So I said, we don't share money now. So if I ask you money, no be bad thing. He said, okay, just come. That's in Sanson. By the time I got there, I met him with two ladies. And they said, is this the guy? I was wondering which guy. So I didn't know he has already sold me to them, like my potentials.
Wow.
So they said if I would like to work in Cape Town, I said, I'm just coming from Cape Town. I can't go back. They said, no, they want me to come back. I said, I don't even have an apartment and everything. I just told them the truth that at this point, all I have is this and I want to complete and travel. So maybe the lady, quite of age, she just saw something in me. Let me put it like this young dude that is, you can see you know me, Joan, man, always there, hustler. So she said, okay, she'll get back to me. So I left. 2-3 days later, someone called her secretary. They interviewed me online and everything. And I said, okay, to be honest, I don't have papers. So I'm going to work it out. Let's see if I can get someone that has like a company. So I use that to submit. And I'll be like more like a contract staff.
Mm-hmm.
Like expatriate, let me just use the word. Because I was coming for something special. So I did. And behold, I had a contract for 6 months. During the period, it's an NGO for people living with disability. So I handled my part well. And they wanted to shoot a TV commercial. That was my breakthrough. So they gave me the job. I trust your guys, streets. My beauty, yeah. So anyhow, that's how I bought my car that you know, June, and everything. So life started and everything. So looking back to where I started from and looking at where I am right now, because I've shot 2 major feature films, about 5 documentaries. I just came back from Kenya as well for a documentary, and I was opportunity to visit Europe to just do some meetings with Amazon, you know. So,
wow.
So I'm back, and
Wow.
the story.
You know what's funny to me? I'm just nodding my head and shaking because he said a few things that really resonated with me. The first one said I was hungry to learn and work. It's so funny because last week I was complaining about people that I told to come to did an interview, told them to come and learn, and I was even going to pay for the period of learning. They didn't show, no show. So when I heard you say, and you did it for 6 months, and you're right. Sometimes people take the piece, and you need to know what you're worth. So often you think, you know what, I've had enough of this. I need to move on. It was time to move on. I like the fact that you were very upfront about the people that you met and how, you know, what your position was. I think they were going to be the helpers, they'll be the helpers. Some people will think, oh, you have to lie, you have to pretend, and all of those things. And what's interesting now is when you talk about your success and the things that you've done, people don't realize, they see it in that, they're like, oh, this guy, man, he's doing, this is the backstory. You don't know the backstory. Most people have sown the seed, have watered sown the seed. Nothing came out for years. And now stuff is coming on, and you just think you're going to on the bad wagon. This is a Gen Z. I'm telling you, this is a Gen Z. I know that we hate me, but this is the truth. Because this fast Instagram, Instacart, instant noodles, instant food, instant success. I don't understand. Because they think, oh, this person just come out. But the thing is, the person didn't just hammer. You've done the work. You've been sowing the seed, planting, watering. And you're very honest about what you're putting into the ground. People don't actually see that. So I'm actually very blown away that you're telling us your real story. Because sometimes people would just give you the high level, I'm here now, I'm this now, I'm that now. So I really appreciate you sharing the backstory, sharing the level of low. This is what I had left. No apartment, nothing, not even enough money for a ticket to go back home. And I want my friend to say, this is my last stop. Give me the money so I can just go home. Balance the ticket. Let me go and see what happens. And that's what things turn around. Just when you're at the brink of it, when you're about to say, you know what, I'm done, then everything changes. But most as human beings, that is the point where we want to do stupid things, and then we throw away everything that we've actually invested and all of what we've actually done. So I think your story is amazing, and thank you so much for sharing it.
Thank you. So let me go back to my soccer.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jato. That was super insightful, super amazing.
Bye. Thank
you.
No, I think it's awesome. I think it's fantastic for even sharing that level of detail because people do not know the backstory. They don't. I was really about this the Chinese tree that you plant, and for years there is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to keep watching and watching, because the moment it begins to shoot, there's no stopping it. But it's that period of just constant planting and planting, which I always refer to as a growth period. I always say that is you building the foundation for where you want to actually go. Nobody sees the building. When you're doing foundation, nobody sees it. But the challenge is this: if you mess up at the foundation stage, whatever you build on it will not stand. And when I say mess up, I mean character-wise, I mean integrity-wise, compromising, right? If he had gone now, arrange a marriage, do this, and the girl will now say, no, please, at this level now, I want my own share, I want my things, and it becomes very messy. Because you're looking for a shortcut. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it is, everybody can do it straight, but the truth of the matter is, where possible, it pays off eventually, because the quality of what you put in the ground, the quality of the work that goes into the foundation. I always say this to my clients. I say, listen, do the work now. Imagine the future, how big you want it to go. That is the amount of work you have to put into the foundation. Because if you buy a new building, no matter what it is, if your foundation is for bungalow, I don't care if you have a vision for 84-story building, because they cannot stand on that foundation. So you need to cut that down and then dig in for what you actually see your future being, and the building that you want to put on top of it. Otherwise, it's not worth it. When you buy it and you decide, okay, I want to start building without doing the foundation work, you are limited. Doesn't matter how much you want to go up. Yeah. You're limited. They won't give you permits, because that is what they can carry. So when you know where you want to go, what the picture is for you and your future, the impacts you want to make, do the work now. Don't be impatient. I know Gen Z, you will not like me, but I have a big challenge with that group. Instant.
Instant everything. Instant money, instant success. And I think that's where social media becomes a bit of a challenge, because people look at social media and believe that it's the gospel truth. Like you see people say, lose, even things with like weight loss, lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks. And you see people paying. No. Grow your bum in 10 days with one anointing oil. Like people buy this stuff. So I don't know what world we're living in.
Let me use a phrase we use where I was from, when I was growing up in Nigeria. They say never like that.
But all of a sudden, people just believe this stuff. People believe that you can just wake up and become a millionaire, or even again, no fault of those who are successful, because nobody owes you anything to tell you the backstory. That's the truth, right? So I can put out whatever it is I want to put out. So again, real kudos to people like Jato, who can come out and say, hey, it wasn't always like this. I couldn't even buy a ticket. I had no home. I was homeless. But now, when you see him posting G-Wagons and stuff like that on Instagram, people are like, hey, I tap into your success. But are you willing to go through what he went through? A lot of people are not. That's the truth. A lot of people are not. They're just like, there's got to be an easier way. And you're constantly looking for that easier way. But there is no easy way. People who are truly successful, they had to put in the hard work. Lots of crying, lots of tears, lots of blood had to be shed. But you have to stay the course. You can't just give up. Oh, let me just try this crypto thing. It's not working. I'm off. Okay, let me try this. They say we're doing the social media marketing. It's not working. I'm off. Oh, let me go into real estate. They say people are buying houses and making billions. One month, no money, you're off. Oh, let me go into you cannot just keep jumping from one thing to the other. It won't work. You have to put in the work.
Okay, I'm back. I think I lost you briefly. Sorry. I just realized that I am in the quiet zone, and I am the noisiest person in the quiet zone now. Not that the kids are quiet, because I just saw my neighbor look across.
How else would they know you're Nigerian? How would they know?
Listen, not only would they know, I have been reminded a number of times already over this weekend, as you know, over the last few days. So it's okay. It's okay. Because at this juncture, I do think that for me as a person, and one of the things that I hope that people would take to heart as they go into the new year, and just as a person generally, that when you make, I know Joan will say, oh yes, there's a balance, don't overcommit. But some of these things is dedication. Go all the way, follow it through, right? Particularly when you know you're on the right path, because he knew what he wanted to do. Right, I won't say obviously speed up when you're on the wrong path. That's stupid. You have to stop and change course. But when you know you're on the right path, it links into your vision, it links into your passion, what you believe in your heart that fills your cup. Then you have to pour into it. You have to, put the work in to actually, because it's in that moment when you're about to quit, that something's about to, you don't want to say yes, dark, yes, before dawn. it really does get darkest before dawn, before things switch over. And so sometimes it's just worthwhile sticking with it. Don't call everything quit very easy. It's not working. It can't be this hard. Some people have it easier. It's a lie. They're not telling their backstory. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. And it's so funny. This week my colleague gave me a card. And in the card, each of us, all of us went in for a team event. She gave us a card, and each of the card actually had lotto tickets. And with numbers picked, I she was like, who knows? Somebody wins, and then they could quit the job. I now said something else. I said that it would be great if you quit, but you never have to come back. Because I know people who have also quit their jobs from winning the lottery and actually have blown the money. Yeah. They go back being broke. And I'm like, where did all that money go to?
Maybe like 10 or 15 years, they go back to being broke.
So the thing is, you just want life-changing money. So where did all of that go to? Like, and it all comes down to the foundation. They went to go and get 68 million pounds when in their life they've never handled anything. They never imagined anything bigger than, 100,000 or whatever. And then you have to give them mind-blowing money. They think it's like rain, it will never end. And they just keep blowing and blow through it. So it really doesn't matter what anybody gives you. If you don't have the foundation, if you don't have the character of person, the discipline of work, the ethic to actually apply yourself, you'll fall down, you'll come to pieces in a few months or in a few years, ultimately.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I just read the Viola Davis's book this week, and like halfway through the book, I'm gonna be honest, I was judging her. Honestly, because I'm like, I'm already halfway through this book, and it's just tales of woe. I'm like, when does it ever get good? And I'm like, I don't know how she stayed the course, because she struggled. Like, I thought I had a hard life. Oh my God. Oh, I can't even fathom the things I was reading about her. Her life was she said there's poor and there's poor. They were poor. They were below poor. They were scraping through garbage for food. You have no idea. Her book is, if you have, go read it. That's all I can say.
Is that an audio? Is that an audio book? I heard about it. I to kill. All right, so I'll probably listen to it.
Like I had a new respect for her, because like I knew her the first time I really, really paid attention to her was in How to Get Away with Murder, and I thought she did a phenomenal job. I was like, okay, well, I didn't know her backstory, so just like, oh, and next thing she's like woman king. She's there, like she's all over the place now. She's this huge celebrity. She suffered, like even within the industry, no one would hire her. She's too dark, she's too ugly, her lips are too big, her nose is too big. Like everything was working against this woman. Then she has, health issues as well. It was just that book. Honestly, I was like, wow, I don't know how she stayed. I don't know how she kept on that path of, I'm going to become a successful actress. A lot of people would have quit. Once they just say you're too dark, you're like, you gotta start bleaching your skin. Like, okay, so let me be light skinned because I need to get this role. Or I need to, again, the shortcuts that we're talking about. But if you just stay the course, she knew, it was very, very clear to her from a very young age she wanted to act. And she stayed on course. She did whatever she had to do. She suffered, she slept in. There was a place where she stayed. She said she was killing at least 12 rats a day, minimum. And she was living there. There was no running water, no. Sad story. That's all I can say. But people see her today and they're envious and like, overnight success. Oh, she just came from wherever. You don't know the backstory. So in essence, what I'm saying is, just to buttress on what women were saying, don't quit too soon. Sometimes it really does get darkest before it gets bright. Stay the course. Stay true to who you are, what you want to do. Be clear on, this is the vision I have for my life, and I'm going to stay on course. And before you know it, again, it might be 30, 40 years. But at some point in time, things will actually start to shift. Things will start to happen magically. Because for her, the moment she got her first TV role, oh my God. It was just back to back. It's just like, whoa. It was just film, movie after movie after movie after movie. She's winning awards. She's like, wow. Now she has an Oscar. And it's just like, the first 30 years, nothing was going on. Like, you just constantly grinding, living in abject poverty. So stay the course. If you've been going through this year, 2022 or 2023, you had dreams that you were working on, and it's not looking like things are working out, don't be too quick to give up. Don't be too quick to give up. You might see other people who just started something new and they seemingly are making money or seemingly are successful, because people always paint the picture of themselves that they want you to believe. It might not be true. Stay on your lane. Stay on your lane.
That thing is also, it's quite difficult as well, because as Africans we were always trained on the basis of look at your mates, look at your sister, look at your brother. You know, parents are always in a comparison thing. So as an individual, by default, you want to know how you're doing, particularly if you're an African or even Asian descent. There's that thing in both cultures where you want to look at your peers and decide how well you think you're doing. And I've been doing, like I said to you, I've been doing a lot of work for me in the mindset. And when they said to me, what is the one emotion, the one thing that you want to get out of? Instantly in my head was about that comparison. Because whilst I have used it as a fuel over the years and it served me, the point is, from an energy perspective, and it doesn't necessarily serve me, right? It's worked all over, but why? Does I can find something else to fuel me, or something else to keep me going, right?
Yeah.
The joy of the destination, the joy of the impact, not the competition, not the trying to so that parents can be proud and all of those things, So just breaking away from that, and as I always say, well, I share my own issues over here as well. So the thing to the matter is, for me, that was one thing, and I had to sit down to really think into why. And I found out that it's not a bitterness thing. It's not a thing of, oh, I then hate them or dislike them. No, I'm happy for them. But then it becomes a case of, oh, I want to scale that level now. Why? Why? Well, I didn't realize that actually up until we even had the conversation with your parents. When I spoke to my Asian friends, I realized that it's an upbringing thing.
Yeah.
Comparing you to your neighbor. It's so bad. Our people, generator that is 5 kV or 3 kV, that's the name of generator. 3 kV or can you imagine? I better pass my neighbor. What is the point? How is that even a thing? But it's just a cultural thing that everybody thinks is just normal. But you're constantly comparing and comparing. Your parents will compare you to your siblings and to your neighbors and all of that. And so I'm doing a lot of work in my own space to try and break away from it. Not because, it's ever bothered me, or not because I say on Instagram, I don't know, I don't spend time on Instagram enough to even see what somebody else is doing. But the point is, at a subconscious level, it's still there. And so I'm really trying to uproot it so that I can find my fuel elsewhere. It hasn't made me bitter. It has fueled me to do better. But I think there's better fuel elsewhere, better energy fuel elsewhere that I can use to create, not to be doing the nonsense that comparison does. So I think it's a thing as well with us. I'm not saying become lazy. I'm not saying just no, I'm not saying that. Obviously, because one of the things is that you have to understand that your life is too small to be busy for your life. And you also have to understand that your life in itself is an investment, and so you want to live to the fullness of what is possible. And I think that in itself should be the motivation rather than anybody else's living. I use the example of Ngozi Uwela, right? When you look at all the things she has done, you're like, now, it's enough now. You can retire now. There's nothing else other than become there's no other role. Let's face it, she's done everything, right? But when you listen to her, she talks about it's about my capacity and what I think I'm capable of doing. So when you know your capacity and what you're capable of doing, you have to live into that and forget about what everybody else is doing. Live into that, and that's what is driving me, and that's one of the main things for me next year as well.
Yeah, your only competition is you.
It's you.
Not anybody else. It's you, and the better version of yourself you're working towards. And that should be the yardstick to measure: am I growing? Am I achieving the things I want to achieve? Am I successful? What is your definition of success? It might be different from the next person's own, but if you're using everybody to compare yourself, you would always be on the losing end. You always feel, because that your negative self-talk is there saying, look at you haven't done anything, see your mates. Like, you'd be like, oh my God, I haven't really done anything. Oh, this person bought 5 houses this year. They bought 10 cars. They traveled to 25 different countries. What if that's not what success is for you? How about you go define what success is for you and then use that to measure where you are, not from a judgment point of view, but just, okay, so I this is the life I want to live, but I'm not quite there yet. What can I improve, or what can I do to make sure I'm working towards that goal? I think this comparison thing, we were raised that way. And I think it takes a lot of inner work, first of all, to even be aware of it, because sometimes you're just existing. You don't even know that this is what is driving you. You just know that you're happy for people, but you're not really happy, right? Because like, I remember a couple of years ago, when I bought the car before the one I had before the one I currently have, and then someone who was supposed to be a friend, well, she's an acquaintance, not really a friend, and she heard that I had bought this car for my birthday, and the next thing she calls a mutual friend and says, after Joan will say she doesn't do runs, where did she get money to buy a car from? To buy this kind of car from? And then she's like, you see, in her mind, she thought, I'm happy for her, but she's not telling us the truth. It's not true happiness. Okay, if you already have negative thoughts about how could she afford the car, why she traveling so much, who's funding her lifestyle, or why not me? Then you're dealing with envy and jealousy, and this is how we were raised. So I'm not saying I'm not free of that. I sometimes when I see certain things happening to other people, I'm like, man, June, when will it be your turn? But it's not about you. Your only concern is you. Go figure out what you want for your life and use that to measure how far you've come or how far you're going, and then make changes where necessary. Right?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I agree with everything you said, but you lost me a little bit when it came to the question of who is funding her lifestyle.
And even, I'm like, what lifestyle?
I have had to answer those questions recently. Who is funding? Who's funding? How did you buy it? It's how it starts. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But hey, like you said, it always comes. It comes from a subconscious thing or an unconscious bias thing, right? But what the person is thinking in that particular. Guys, anybody want to come up and join us? You saw what Tato just did. Feel free to come up and join us. If you have questions for us, or you just want to really yap us to say, Madam, what are you people talking about? Feel free to come up. Because I'm actually sat here. This is my one entertainment this afternoon. I'm sat here just waiting for the next flight. You know, so I'm in transit, like Joan said. So any entertainment or any pieces that you guys come up with this afternoon, I'll be very grateful for.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm leaving you to the commitment. Oh, just as a heads up, guys. So next week, Saturday, we will not be here because whilst I am in transit, where I will be next week, Saturday, I will not have access to the internet to be able to do this session. So as much as I want to leave into my commitment, and Joan said last week, I cannot come and somersault. I have to know where my energy level is up to and be able to say no. So for next week, the answer is no. I am not able to make it next week. So I won't be here. I don't think we'll have a session, but then we'll carry on the following week. Yeah, just as a heads up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just as a heads up. So maybe one thing we can talk about, maybe you can give your own perspective on this. So very recently, changing careers. I've changed careers a lot of times in my lifetime. Again, not because I'm trying to be like anybody else, but because, again, my capacity can take it, and I just like to do different new things. And I find that a lot of people, just to what we're saying before, people like to just go with the flow, follow the flow, just keep up with Joneses, just do what everybody else is doing. And that's happened for a while now, where you see most people gravitate towards either the same career, the same type of jobs, which is fair, fine, whatever. If you're doing it to keep body and soul together, that's fine. But I found that in the last, I want to say maybe last 6 weeks to 8 weeks, I've gotten a lot of calls and conversations around people now looking to switch careers because now they found that they went down this path. Yes, you might be paying the bills, but now they're super frustrated. They're not happy at work. The work is not bringing them any joy, you know, or there's just no fulfillment for them. And now they're looking to shift into something that is more in alignment with who they are, or whatever goals or plans that they have for their lives and their futures. And so I've gotten a lot of questions over the last couple of weeks on, like, how do I pivot now? How do I switch careers to something completely different from what I've done? How do I position myself in a way where I don't have to now go start from the bottom of the ladder? Because you built these careers in areas where you don't care about it, but you've grown to some extent. And now you want to focus on something that's more in alignment with who you are. So what would you say to these kind of people? Are there any steps that they should take for the new year in terms of pivoting to a new career?
Joan, that's an interesting question. And I think it's probably good that they're now aware of it and they're willing to make the move. But I think the truth of the matter is this. The idea that you not sacrifice and give up something is a lie. Because if you just think that you can just jump in, yes, it can be quite. I think that's what keeps most people away. But the question is, how long are you? Well, one, what sacrifice are you willing to make? Two, how long are you willing to make that sacrifice for? Because I'm not saying make a sacrifice of their life. It can be strategic. You can decide that, okay, I will do this, and then I will not stay here. I will not get comfortable. I want to move on to the next thing. So you can give yourself time in a particular sense. But when I have these conversations with people in this way, I always start with the core of why they want to make that particular, because the why is very big. If the why is big enough, and the why is strong enough, then it will be enough to sustain them through when things don't begin to look like it. Because I don't want to fool them and it will look like it overnight. So we need to level set in that particular space. That's number one. Number two is transferable skills. How do we define it? Because everything that we do, particularly when you come to a particular point in your career, everything is the same, but different. Like my friends in Middle East will say, oh, same, but different. Because actually, what you do in your day to day, in your role, are things that you will do again in that particular role. They just might be called something entirely different. So it's understanding the lingo of where you want to move into, understanding how it aligns to where you currently are, so that you can position your experience appropriately for that particular space is very important. Then I think the other piece as well will be I actually say they need to get out there and start testing what they have. Don't wait till you think you have the whole perfect package. Put together what you have. There will always be room for reassessing and then going back in. Like we said I think it was our first session where I said that if your resume is not giving you calls, then you need to work on the resume. If your resume is giving you calls for interviews, but you're not getting through, then we need to work on your interview skills. So we need to start again at a particular level because it's exactly what it is. You may be an experienced executive where you are, but then you're unhappy. Now, are those skills transferable? Yes. Is it like you're going to scare the person that's going to hire you that you might take over their job? Maybe, but again, it's all about, how you position it when you're about to go into that particular space. So it's about testing the market to see actually what is the right level, what can I get if I wanted to jump in now? And then use it as a good measure to then decide, okay, what am I willing to give up and what does this mean for me from a path perspective? So I've said many things, apologies, but the truth of the matter is, one, the why is very, very important. So, know that why it has to be big enough. I need to be hungry enough. Sacrifices you're willing to make, even alongside that particular why, right? And then how long you're even willing to make those sacrifices for. And then obviously positioning your current experience in the lingo and in the right terms for where you actually want to move into. Then obviously the fifth one is now testing what you have when you make that position to see if it actually works and gets you the right response from that particular industrial field. So those are at a high level, 5 key things I think people have to do.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. I agree with all 5 of them, and I think that at every stage of those 5 that you mentioned, I think the driving force for a lot of people is fear of the unknown, fear of what if I fail, fear of what if I'm not able to, what would they say, imposter syndrome, like all of this stuff, that the negative self-talk that goes on within all of us. And so, like, I agree with you, if the why is strong enough, then that will kind of pull you through. And having the right expectation, I think that's where the whole, what are you willing to sacrifice? Because I know people who, especially people who came from Nigeria, who were maybe like EDs at banks, and they come to Canada and you're hoping to get an ED role.
Sorry, I did laugh out loud. I apologize. If you're one of those people, I'm not laughing at you. It's okay to have expectations, but it has to be on a timeline.
Yes.
An ED role in how many years?
Yes.
Not an ED role the day you arrive.
Exactly. So it's having the right expectations and then having a plan. So even if you don't end up being an ED as your first gig and you end up being a manager, is not being comfortable there and making sure that you're putting yourself out there to go to the next level. But I find that a lot of people give up. Once they're not able to get this ED role, they give up, and then they go, what's the next way to make money? They go into whatever it is, not to mention.
But that is the ego speaking. You know that when people do that, it's an ego thing. It's an ego thing. Because that's one of the things that Dato was saying about, just willingness to do this and understanding that, look, I have to learn. It's an ego thing.
Yes.
It's an ego thing. We all have egos.
To sacrifice anything. You want instant gratification now. I want to be successful right now. I know my worth. I know I'm this. Nobody's saying you don't know your worth, but sometimes you need some time. You need to prove your worth because these people don't know you. So for me, a lot of people who want to switch careers, their biggest problem is fear. They're too afraid to even try. So they make up all the excuses why it's not going to work before they've even started. You know that you want the change. You know why you want the change. You want a better life. You want more time with your family. You want more money. Whatever it is, whatever your big why is. Now you need to take the actions that you need to be able to get the life that you want. And don't be too quick to give up. And be careful who you speak to, because a lot of people will say, it's not possible. I know somebody who tried it, their father, sister, brother, husband, son. They always know people who have failed at it, but that doesn't have to be your story. You can redefine what your story is and just stay the course, have the right people, get the right support. Sometimes it might mean you need to go learn something. There might be a gap in the skills. Once you've assessed your skills, and some will be transferable, some you might need some domain expertise, go take a quick course, go learn. You can learn anything these days on the internet. Go learn, fill in all the gaps, and then put yourself out there. I think the biggest takeaway for anybody who is looking to change careers is be willing to put yourself out there. People keep thinking that, oh, but what if they go to my LinkedIn and they say I haven't done this before?
I'll give a quick example. So somebody that came through with me this week, he clearly hasn't done the role I was advertising for before. And do you know what he did? He went and changed his resume, and every role was the title of what I was asking for. Every role that he's done was the exact same title. And I said to myself, so you now set himself up for failure, because I had an expectation. So I was asking him questions in those particular terms, and I was asking him, and the response was just like, I knew that this person hadn't even bothered to go and Google enough about the qualification and what it entails, but they just kind of change all their titles. Sometimes you do these things where you lie because you think it gives you the best chance.
Yeah.
But then you set yourself up for failure, because the recruiter or the hiring person now has an expectation that you can't actually meet.
Yeah.
But so it doesn't make any sense. But if you talk about your transferable skills, and then the person says, okay, this one might not have it, but when they come and have a conversation, they're now saying, okay, see that you've done this, and so how do you think it is transferable? Then you can talk to the transferability of those skills, because it's a behavior. Any skill, like Joan just said, can be learned. And so it's really that whole understanding of what the gap is. From a skills perspective is easy. The biggest issue that we have is, from a behavior perspective,
Yes.
and have effectiveness in yourself to know that what you're set out for.
Absolutely. And these days, people hire more for attitude than aptitude. Like, work on yourself. Make sure that you're someone that people actually want to work with. When you show up at interviews, look a certain way, because people are reading your energy, right? So make sure that you show up correct. You have people that hear what you're saying. You're able to express yourself properly. And the other skills, you can learn it, honestly. Like, I would never dismiss somebody because they don't have one domain expertise. Like, it's just not possible. If you have the right behaviors, right characters, you have that willingness to learn, willingness to grow. I think for me, those are bigger things that you can't teach anybody above any skill set. So if you've been sitting on the fence, or maybe you've been thinking, oh, for next year, I want a different career. I want to do something different. I want to do something that I enjoy, something that will give me more free time, my family, give me more money, give me whatever, a job that takes me around the world, whatever it is you're desiring, it is possible. It is possible. Look at your past experiences, look at your transferable skills, be clear on what is your why do you want this job, so that when the going gets tough, you stay on course. Look at all the skills that are required. If there are gaps, go plug the gaps, go learn, go get a mentor, or just go learn. It's available. And then put yourself out there. No one is going to know unless you put yourself out there. And nobody is Googling you. Like, you're not that important. I'm sorry to bust your bubble. You are not that important, right?
What do you mean?
But even when I've gone for interviews in the past and someone say to me like, oh, I see that you're a podcaster. I'm like, okay, and? Oh, I see that. And like, what has that got to do with the actual job we're talking about? And that's even for people that have time to Google you. But a lot of people don't go Googling you to say, oh, you haven't done this, or you've done this, or whatever it is. People want to know what you bring to the table at the interview. So be willing to just sell yourself, express yourself as articulate as you can, and make sure that people see the value that you're bringing. Whether or not you have 10 years experience, 100 years experience, I don't think it matters too much. My opinion.
Yeah. Another interesting thing as well is that sometimes we really get stuck at the point of qualification, at the point of, okay, because and this very well, like in developed countries, even particularly places like Canada, I have directors, I have VPs who barely even finish university, high school. It's hands-on experience, and many of them started off, call center at the beginning, at the very entry of the organization. So some of them don't even have any of these pieces. And I do know that there are master's programs now that you can actually get on the back of your experience. It doesn't require a degree. Yep. A degree. So there's so many things, there's so many options and so many ways that you shouldn't be thinking about what you don't have, because if you have a work experience, now there's actually a way to skip the BSc and just go straight for the master's if you want it, if you think it's going to give you the right positioning. So again, it comes down to mindset. If you're very stuck at the place where you think, I don't have this, so I cannot move forward, then you will never see the opportunity. But if you're looking for the how and you think, oh, actually, you know what? I know that I don't have this, but it's not going to hold me back. Then you will see the possibilities and you will see the options on how you can actually get a master's without actually having a BSc. You know, how all of your work experience can actually count towards more substantial and material requirements than a degree.
Yeah.
So again, it comes down
And
to what you're looking for.
try. People don't put themselves out there. People say, oh, I've been looking for a job. And when you say, so how many have you applied to? None. How many people have you connected with on LinkedIn just to chat about their life? None. And you're looking for a job. Okay, right. Like, how does this work? It's like, there's no magic to this stuff. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and try, because you never know until you try.
One thing that I have to just say, people that reach out to me on LinkedIn and talk to me about jobs, please do not apply for 5 roles in one company,
Yes.
assuming that it's different people. The way it works is you have HR business partners, you have recruitment teams that are assigned to business areas, and they work together. So you applying for 5 different roles in an organization already cuts you out, because it just shows that you don't know what you want. You just throw in everything there, and then you go and amend your resume with different titles to
5
meet those
different
things.
resumes.
Jesus. And then they reach out to me and say, oh, I did this, I did that. I'm like, I don't know how to help you now, because I know in my mind that the same person that deals with all of those recruiting managers.
Yeah.
So what am I going to say? I can't refer you now when you've applied for 5 different roles. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. You know, so I'm just saying, if you want to go for something, find somebody in your network that can refer you, because usually that guarantees you an interview to that extent.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you don't have that, choose the one and go for the one. Don't be fooling yourself that it's different teams and different hiring managers. No, that's not how it works. It's the HR person that goes through it and their team before they even get to the hiring manager. So if you shop in different places with different views, you're out of the race, all right, before it even starts. Just putting that out there.
Even with recruiters, I know people who've been blacklisted with recruiters just because they have too many resumes. And so people say, oh, but I keep applying and I'm not getting any calls. Well, how many resumes do you have out there? Right? I know what they say, tailor your resume, but Kai, you cannot have 5 different resumes. They're all different roles and different, come on, it's too confusing for everybody. So just know what it is you're after and stick to it. Just go all out, try. You know, don't be too quick to just throw all your eggs into different baskets and just be hoping that one will come back full. No. Focus on what it is that you want. Make sure that you're focusing on what are the transferable skills? What do I need to learn? How do I position myself? Is my resume good enough? Do I know anybody within the organization? If not, how can I connect with people within the organization? And just try. So next year, for those of you who want a new job or you want to change careers, I want to hear some good news next year. I want to hear some success.
Me too. We have a minute to go.
We do have
a
minute to go. We have 2 minutes to go, not 1 minute. But anyway, just to everybody, for those who have been with us throughout the day and those who are just joining, well, thank you for joining us today on another Mastermind where we just brainstorm, talk about ideas. You know, we had Jack with us today who shared his story of how he moved to South Africa, a filmmaker, and some of the tough times that he had to face and how he was able to pull through and become the successful producer that he is today. And then we talked about, you know, changing careers and some of the mindset shifts that we need to work on. That whole comparison mindset. Stop comparing yourself to people. You're your only competition. Look at what you were yesterday, what you are today, and determine if you're progressing or not, and then if you need to make changes or not. Any final words from Baby in Transit? When is your turn? Well, you should have come earlier. You should have come to talk about all the different careers that you've had. Join us. We're not here next week. We're here in 2 weeks' time. So join us in 2 weeks' time. That's Joey's
yes.
Joey, make it a date. In 2 weeks' time, you're going to come and talk to us about your different careers.
Yes. So I Joan just said we're not here next week. Well, this has been fun. This has been a good interlude between my day or my travel at the moment. So I want to say thank you all so much for having us in your space. I'm glad that I hope that you picked 1 or 2 things that you can use, as we said, A career change is very good. It's easy to do. But just follow the key 5 pieces that we shared in this particular video, and I'm sure you'll get to the next level. If you have any questions, reach out, send a message. We'll be happy to respond to you. But beyond that, I want to say thank you all so much for your time, and I've really enjoyed myself as always. We'll speak to you again pretty soon, Joan.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Joey, I'll reach out to you before we have the next session. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Maybe safe travels to the other side of the planet where you're headed.
I will be there soon. But yeah,
we'll
take care, guys.
2 weeks. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.